boy. What are you doing? Hello. Sup Spook, Supreme Scully here. I am dog sitting for one of my mom's coworkers today in her really nice apartment. She's a painter. Can you see that? Yeah, I can't do that, so that's neat. What's up? How's your summer going? It's really hot in this apartment and I don't know where the thermostat is. So we had a big family party at my house yesterday to celebrate like 5 June birthdays, even though it's July, but you know, schedules. But there's like so many people in my family that have June birthdays that we just decided to host like a cookout at our house. And we were all, like my aunts and I were all sitting around the table after we ate. We were talking about how one of my aunts is very happy with her current boyfriend and how she has like seriously upgraded from her previous husband, and how she like saw him out in public when they were like going out for the weekend or something. And we somehow started talking about her wedding, which her wedding to that her previous husband, her previous wedding happened when I was 4 and I was her flower girl. So she had the, I don't know if the ceremony was there, I can't remember that far back, I was 4, but she had the reception at this hotel, well it's an inn, it's called the Lighthouse Inn, and the dog is chewing on the blanket. She had the reception at the Lighthouse Inn, which is very haunted, apparently, and of all the, like, I don't have a lot of memories from like before middle school, but I remember a lot about her wedding. And when I remember specifically, even though I was only 4 years old, was that all of my older cousins, because I'm one of the youngest cousins, I have a lot of cousins, all of my cousins were like telling me that it was haunted, and I thought they were just trying to freak me out. So I mentioned that, and I said like the only like thing I remember about that was like all the cousins trying to freak me out. And then my aunt was like, oh no, it's really haunted. So then we started talking about that. So I looked it up, and Lighthouse Inn was built in 1902 as like the summer home of some like steel baron, and then in like the 20s they converted it into like an inn/resort. And what is the dog doing? It became like a really fancy, popular New England summer getaway for even people like Joan Crawford and Betty Davis were said to have vacationed there a lot. And it had, the dog keeps biting the blanket on the couch. She's a puppy. She keeps biting things, and then I have to give her her bone, and then she'll bite that for a minute. And then she'll bite me. What was I saying? It was a really beautiful resort with like a giant hall and this gorgeous grand staircase that's gonna come back in a minute. And it became so well known for this that they decided to like rent it out for special occasions, so like banquets and parties and weddings. So sometime in the 30s there was a wedding scheduled to happen there, and the day before the bride was practicing her like grand entrance on the staircase in like a long dress and heels. And the story goes, I don't know, I read a couple of websites, I don't know if they have like it's verifiable, but it probably did happen, but the bride fell down the stairs and broke her neck and died the day before her wedding. So that's where my aunt had her wedding. I'm assuming that she also made some sort of grand entrance down those stairs. I think I did too. We took all of our family pictures that day on those stairs. So that's fun. And like I was saying, I don't have a lot of memories from it because I was only 4, but there are some things I remember very vividly, which is odd because I don't have a lot of memories from like before the age of like maybe 10. Like I'm like one of my other aunts. I just like don't have memories of things, and it's probably concerning, but whatever. But there are 4 things I remember very vividly. One of them was getting my hair done before the wedding because the lady burnt me with a curling iron. She burnt my scalp. And my aunt, all right, so 5 things. My aunt gave me a really pretty silver bracelet, which I actually found like a month ago. It was really tiny because it was for a 4-year-old, but it like was engraved with my name. We were getting ready in one of the suites in the inn. So yeah, I definitely remember that staircase because we had to go up it. I remember being introduced to the Shirley Temple drink for the first time. So let me tell you, I was like awake and alive from all the sugar and the red dye and the grenadine. Because one of my other aunts taught me how to go up to the bar and ask for one myself, so I drank a lot of Shirley Temples that night, which is a lot of sugar for a 4-year-old. And then the other thing that I remember clearly to this day, well, not clearly, I remember it very distinctly, shall we say, was my cousins were telling me that it was haunted, and that I, at some point during the reception, got away from the like banquet hall where the dance floor and all the food and everything was, and I was riding the elevator up and down by myself as a 4-year-old. I don't know why I was doing that, but that is something I remember. And at some point, I remember it opening on a floor, and it was just like a long, dark hallway, because I'm sure no one was really there at the time. It was probably only relatively dark. I was 4, who knows? But it opened on a floor, and I got out, and I was confused, because I was like, oh, this isn't where the party is. But I remember that, and I remembered that it was haunted. So then, fast forward to yesterday when we were having the party talking about it, and my aunt kept saying, it was so funny, you were so cute afterwards, you kept telling me, Aunt Beth, I got to dance with the bride, and she was like, yeah, I know, I was the bride. So, you know, that could just be a cute 4-year-old thing. But the thing is, like, I have a lot of aunts and I have a lot of uncles, and when I was little I kind of used to forget their names, but my Aunt Beth is the one that was getting married. I was her flower girl. She's also my godmother, so I always I got one of her names first, so I don't think I would have forgotten that it was her that was getting married, even as a toddler. So my theory is, knowing me and knowing that the hotel was haunted, when I was riding that elevator up and down by myself and I ended up in that dark hallway, I feel like when I told her I got to dance with the bride, I've probably like found the ghost bride and danced with her. Because another thing is, like, you know that memory is never 100%. It's totally unreliable. But every time I look back at pictures and I see my aunt in her wedding dress, I get like a little put off because that's not the wedding dress I remember her wearing. So again, that leads me to think that when I kept telling her so excitedly, Aunt Beth, I got to dance with the bride, I don't think I meant her. I think that 4-year-old me found a ghost of a dead bride in a hotel. She saw me, the 4-year-old little flower girl, wandering in this haunted inn by myself on, like, I don't know, the 3rd floor probably. I don't know how many floors there are, but I was not on the floor where everyone else was. So I think that ghost found little flower girl me wandering around and decided to, like, I don't know, dance with me? I don't know. Like, knowing me, that wouldn't be surprising. And, like, there's that whole thing where, like, a lot of children are, like, sensitive to spirits and stuff, and then it kind of goes away when they're older. But there's so many stories of, like, babies looking at something just over their parent's shoulder, or, like, little kids saying they see colors around people, and that's auras. Like, even one of my cousins, my mom was the youngest of her family, so she would be, like, babysitting her nieces and nephews when she was, like, 14, 15, and she put one of my cousins in like on a back seat on her bike, and she was riding by the cemetery, because there's like a really long road with a cemetery on both sides in my mom's hometown. Haha, how creepy. And she was riding down the road with him in the back seat, and he was looking around. He was like 4 probably, and he kept looking around saying, "Aunt Jenny, who are all the people?" And my mom was like, "Whomst?" And he said, "The people, Aunt Jenny." So they were like on a deserted road with cemetery on both sides, like 15-year-old my mom with her 4-year-old nephew, and he's looking around at the cemetery saying, "All the people." So I feel, and like a lot of my cousins and people in my family are sensitive. I have a cousin who's like a psychic, and I think I danced with a ghost. Like out of all the things to come out of like an after dinner conversation at a family party, that's one that I was not expecting and yet am not surprised by. Like I think I danced with a ghost. So I was looking on a bunch of, oh, there's the dog, paranormal websites, and supposedly there are like 3 spirits in total that people interact with while there. First one is like the most famous one, and that's the ghost bride. The second one is like a woman, sorry, I just had to burp, a woman in like Victorian clothes, and then the third one is a child. So that sounds pretty standard for something built around the turn of the century. But yeah, I kind of want to figure out a way to go back there. It hasn't been operating as an inn for like many years, but it's been sold recently, like it's under new ownership. So there's a possibility that it might become an inn again sometime. And if it does, I want to go back, see if anything happens. Maybe I'll post my story on some paranormal forum about it. And apparently one of the New England Society for Paranormal Investigation, I think, there's a lot of acronyms. NISPR? It's New England Paranormal something. Said that it's like one of the most intriguing and one of the most interesting hauntings in Connecticut. And, Connecticut's got a lot of hauntings. We do. Whenever my friends from school ask, "Oh, what's Connecticut like?" I say, "Here are my rocks, here are my ghosts." So, yeah. I don't know how to end this video. I probably danced with a ghost when I was 4. Stay spooky. I know I will.